What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the basement. What's good? Good to have y'all back. Make sure you check out our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/the basement. We're back here again. And make sure you share and like the video right now. Let people know what's going on. Put it on your Facebook pages. That would be great. For those of y'all who are watching us, share and like the page, facebook.com/wrath and grace. And also, just in case y'all didn't hear me, facebook.com/group/the basement is our group page. So make sure you join us. And for those of y'all who have joined, we have a couple new members. Thank you for joining our Facebook group page. We do have a Patreon, patreon.com/thebasement717. Shout out to our supporters. Thank you so much for what you do, and thank you for supporting us financially. Most importantly, we do need your prayers. Doing this every week can be a little bit crazy with everything going on with school, with ministry, with church and family, and so the list goes on. So we appreciate your prayers and support. So patreon.com/thebasement717 is our Patreon page. And we do have an app, WG Universe. You can go on the App Store and get the app, put it on your phones, and support that way as well. Let people know what's going on there. And finally, we do have a web page, wrathandgrace.com, where you can go and be a part of the website there and just take advantage of some of the resources we do have there, where y'all can dig in and buy shirts. There's all sorts of things you can get there. So shout out to everybody out there. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. And this is Thinking Out Loud, Part 1. Yeah.
Part 1 implies multiple parts.
Yeah. Yep.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Glad to be back here in the basement. This is episode 116. Wow. Who would have thought? Tonight we are doing a Q&A, so feel free to throw some questions in the comment section. As always, we love to hear from y'all, so we don't like to just come to y'all with information and our own opinion. We like to hear from y'all, so be in the comment section with us. Go ahead and share this video as well with as many people as you can. You know how the algorithms work. Anyway,
chill.
Let's get into this. So, you want to throw something out there? You want to get the comment section started? I could throw something out there.
Yeah, real quick, for those of y'all who are watching and later on will watch, how many out there have the Oculus? You know, my son brought one home, and out of curiosity, I've been checking it out. I know some of y'all are skeptical about it, but what are your thoughts on that? Yeah. And some entertainment, because I like tech, right? I just love tech. That's what I do. But there was a question posed in an article by the Christian Post that asked the question, what is the metaverse, and is it poised to obliterate megachurches? Good question, right?
So it's pretty much MegaVerse the meta.
That's an episode.
Yeah, that's it.
That's an
there
episode, bro.
There we go.
But Blair joins Billy Hallowell on the Christian Post podcast. I don't know who they are, so this is not, promoting them. Kind of too late, I guess. But to discuss this very issue, they said, he explains the metaverse, how churches are using it, and his predictions surrounding what might happen to megachurch complexes amid our increasing turn toward technology.
Yeah. I think churches that are... Sorry, were you about to read more?
No. It's just pretty much highlighting the fact that, with something that looks like church being that accessible in your living room, where you're looking like, for those of y'all who don't know, an Oculus are those that device you put over your eyes, right? And you can see like 360 everywhere, and it's like you're there. My son actually sent me a snapshot of people having church. They're sitting in the pews, there's screens with worship on and preaching, and they have avatars, but they sit there and actually engage that way. But go ahead.
I think meta churches and mega churches do not have to worry about duking it out or fighting for audiences. I think they'll cater to the same kind of Christians. And what I mean by that is a lot of mega churches are seeker sensitive. So they're using the same methods to build their church whenever they use the MegaChurch method, which is, why even leave your house to come to church when we could come to you? Rather than you come as you are, it's we come as we are.
Right.
I think they cater to the same kind of Christian, which is one, and this is just generalizing mega churches. This is kind of just putting mega churches under a big blanket and saying all of them are the same. They all cater to the same kind of people. I understand that this is a general statement, but I'm just saying a lot of these mega churches are not going to lose people. It's only going to add to what they're already doing. Meaning most of these mega churches are going to employ and implement the meta church.
I could see that.
It'd just be another ministry.
I could see that.
So it'd be a ministry in the middle of all of the other ministries that are going on.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
Yeah, it'll just add to the money that's coming in. I wonder if you can send meta money.
Well, yeah. So
I'm wondering if mega churches are going to be okay with that.
No,
because you can't pay the bills with that meta money.
Oh yeah, you can.
Not yet.
No, you're talking about Bitcoin and all that.
But that's the digital coins that they're going to be using for this meta world, right?
You can set up your account in there and everything.
Oh well, you can set up real. But I'm saying, what if people start sending meta money?
Or like fake money? That'll get a lot of people upset in the mega churches, man.
These mega churches, they'll start saying, no, we need to be in person.
Yeah, I know you fake in there. You're an avatar, but we need that real money.
Like if I'm in the meta world, I'm creating some dollar bills and I'm here you go, brother.
Yeah, I tied my meta money. You know what I'm saying? My fake
I gave
money.
everything. A lady at the apostles' feet.
Yo, that's wild.
A meta offering.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah, that's a really good point, man. They will implement it, right?
Yeah.
So I went in there, and there was this worship service, and they had a 360 camera, so you can see like everything in it. You know, you're right on the stage. They had some rap concerts in there. They even had a comedy club.
That's wild.
Right? A recording studio. You can go in and actually record verses and spit over some beats. It's wild, bro. It's very interesting, and I think it is going to be something that's going to really affect the culture. I think it's going to affect the culture, man. It's the next level of people being on their phones all the time.
It's another outlet of escape.
Yes, and it's going to be very distracting to people. So I think there's going to be phases, though. I think they're jumping in, but I think some people in the tech industry are going to pull back. And this is my prediction. They're going to have a hybrid, right, of glasses that you can actually see. Like right now, you can see things. You can do it with the Oculus, but they'll have glasses where you can kind of see things. But also, you know how on your phone you can go up and see like animated creatures that are actually on the sidewalk that you're seeing.
Okay. They're
going to implement like glasses or some sorts of where you can walk downtown, for instance, and then you can see these animated pop-ups that tell you what's in the stores.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? So they're going to create a hybrid where you can do both. If you want to go in, you can go in with your glasses, or you can see animated pop-ups in stores, or, you know, like even directions. So I think that's going to be the first phase. And then they're going to full out just immerse people into this whole metaverse thing, which they're already doing with the Oculus. But right now it's just so heavy on your face. It's not as...
Pretty soon they're going to be able to give us the Stark Tech.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Pretty soon, meaning within the next 10 to 20 years.
Yeah, maybe.
So I could see them giving us technology that just like nanotechnology. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like it'd go like in Iron Man. You see him go from the big bulky suit.
Yep.
To the the Mach 9.5, whatever that was, and then he just more and more until to the point where you won't even know he has the suit on.
Yeah.
And then it just transforms right in front of your eyes. I could see it happening. Yeah,
for sure.
You guys have any questions, go ahead and put it in the comment section. We're going to continue forward with this. So let's see. Here goes something I found. Where's it at? So HB Charles posted something. Some stats right here. He says 75% of kids left the church from 18 to 29 years old. Now that sounds like a regular stat, right? 75% of kids, they leave the church between the ages of 18 and 29. You're raised in the church, you end up leaving. 75% of them leave from the age of 18 all the way to about 30. Why did the 25% stay connected with Christ? Well, here goes a few reasons that they narrowed it down. Number one reason. Well, let me go with the number 5 reason, and I'll go down. Number 5 reason. They had at least one faith-focused adult in their lives other than their parents. That makes sense. Why would a person have a kid have a closer relationship with Christ? Because they had someone who was faith-focused as an adult in their life, and it wasn't their parents. That makes sense. Well, you never grew up in the church, but
right. That makes sense though.
Yeah. Another reason, number 4 reason, they were entrusted with responsibility and ministry at an early age. Get them involved at a young age. Absolutely. That's what I'm praying keeps Rihanna, my oldest, involved at church. She's been on the choir since I think she was 12 when she joined the choir, and she's been faithful to it ever since. Yeah, you want to get your kids involved in ministry at an early age. And that number 5 one, having a faith-focused adult, I also tried to implement that. I didn't even know this list right here. It's just weird how some of these things are lining up. Number 3 reason, they had one spiritual experience in the home during the week. Now, that's where it can get tough. One spiritual experience in the home during the week. In the culture that we live in today, because we're so busy, it can be easy to forget the mission field in the home.
Francis Banks says, I don't know. Sounds a little Presby.
Yeah, well, I don't know if is HB Charles Presby?
Good question.
I think he's Reformed Baptist.
Yeah, I think he's Baptist.
I think he's Reformed
Let
Baptist.
us know out there is what's HB Charles. I actually don't know. I know he's in Florida, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Number 2 reason, they serve with their families in a ministry. So now you're not only getting the kid involved in the ministry, but you're serving with your family. That's a very good way of getting them plugged in. And then number 1 reason, they ate dinner 5 of 7 nights a week as a family. Man, family dinners together are important.
Yeah.
These are just stats, y'all. These are just stats. You got anything?
Yeah. It's that, I don't know if y'all know, but Pennsylvania School Board votes down parents' request to launch an after-school Satan club.
Yeah, so y'all heard him right. There is a Satan club for those kids after school right here in Pennsylvania.
Well, I said it got voted down.
Oh, it got voted down.
The school board voted it down, but they're going to go into litigation over it.
It says votes down parents.
No, in an 8-1 vote Tuesday, the Northern York County School Board, based in Dillsburg, Pennsylvania, rejected the request.
That's Dillsburg. That's not the one in York.
York County?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's York County.
Is Dillsburg York?
Yeah, York County School Board, yeah.
Okay. All right, got you.
So, yeah, they shut it down, but I think they're going to go into litigation. So, interesting, right?
Yeah, there was an after-school club that was trying to get started here in Pennsylvania. It's a Satan club, a Satanist club.
Yeah.
They've already started them where in like California and stuff, right?
What, like clubs like that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're all over the states. Definitely happens. Yeah.
Let's see. York Satanic Club. All right, here goes a question. I'll put it in the comment section.
Oh boy.
This is a little bit more fun. Question. What is the craziest thing you have seen Christians name and claim? What's the craziest thing you've seen Christians name and claim?
Yeah, I'm thinking. Hold on.
I'll start off first. Off the top of my head, I remember hearing a brother name and claim that the one chick in church was going to be his wife. and then she said, "I rebuke that in the name of Jesus." Yo, it was the funniest thing.
He said it on the spot?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was wilding. So my thing is this. Like, at what point does the spirit, like, who does the spirit listen to then?
What spirit was that?
Right. if that's the theology you hold to, who is the Holy Spirit listening to? The young man or the young woman? Because they're both children of God.
That's wild, man.
Is it seniority wins? The one that's older in Christ, they have the final say?
Yeah, that's funny.
Over what gets named and claimed? Can anything get unnamed and unclaimed in Christ?
I guess so, right? That's wild. That's wild to me. Brian says, Brian, he says, a flood coming down an alley. That's interesting.
A flood coming down an alley. Okay. Yeah. So like weather.
Yeah.
So weather. I've definitely seen that.
I don't know if this is like a name or claim, but I remember somebody having like a lion spirit. Not lying, lion. And so they were brought up to the front, and then the guy was speaking prophetically or whatever, he was just running his mouth. Then he said, "Okay, I want you to roar like a lion." So the guy was like, "Roar." He did all that. Yo, it was dead quiet in the church. It was super awkward. And he kept talking about the lion spirit and all this and that. And then he said, "Okay, war one more time." And he was just like, "Roar." Yo, I was in the back like, really? And then he just sat down, and you could feel this
shame,
this dumbness fall on him. Like, it was the dumbest thing I ever seen.
It was the spirit of stupidity.
Yo, straight up. Stupor. The spirit of stupor on that dude, yo. I felt it. I definitely felt that spirit.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yo, that was crazy though. That was crazy. Yeah, that wasn't a name claim, but that John, like,
that's wild.
That was dumb.
Yeah, that's
wild.
A
dumb move.
Yeah, I've seen people name and claim that they were going to be millionaires by the time they were 40, and then when they hit 40, it was by 45, and then it's 45 to 50, and they still talking about it. And then eventually they give up and say, "Well, I'm going to be a millionaire when I get to heaven." I said, "Oh, okay.
That's it?"
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Brian says this person said they were praying against the flood. Okay, yeah. I've seen that. I worked with somebody that was doing that one day.
Did they have a basement? You know what I'm saying? It's like, why were they claiming that? That'd be interesting. But
it was just a bad weather coming, and then they were like, "Nah, in the name of Jesus, I command this flood not to come." It was like one of those things. I definitely seen that happen.
Garrett says, I once attended a conference where the preacher claimed we would have financial blessing by throwing an offering toward him on the altar pulpit. Hashtag the devil's a lie.
Yeah.
No doubt.
So I heard, I think it's you got something? Go ahead. My bad.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say something else.
No, go ahead.
It's my last one.
All
right.
Good.
So this opens up the conversation even more for a bigger topic. Man, I don't say this in a condescending way, but the dating world today is way different from the 80s and 90s. I'm praying for y'all that Jesus will be a fence, a fixer, and a formulator. The stuff I hear as a pastor from dating apps to hook up culture.
Is that your sermon for this Sunday?
No. The holy hookup.
Holy hookup.
Nah, man. Yeah, I would agree with that. Me and Tiff were just talking about this the other day. And I talk about this all the time as I'm talking to guys that are looking for a woman, and every now and then the young ladies of the church will bring up some stuff that sounds crazy too, but I usually hear it from the guys where I'm just like, man, the dating scene is so much different. And I got married in 2015, so it's not like I've been out the game that long.
Yeah, it's recent.
Yeah, like my last time I was dating was 2014. You're talking about 8 years ago. Not even a decade.
What do you think changed? What happened?
PC culture. And this the new generation that was born in the 2000s, they're all adults now. They're all the sins that your generation committed, we're paying for now.
It's our fault.
It's your generation, yo. Because my generation our kids haven't grown up yet. This is y'all's generation from y'all's parenting age.
Jay made a good point when we were talking about the whole Will Smith and Chris Rock situation.
What's that?
Like, we got really deep on it. Like, the fact that it like almost like producing a culture that can't handle, raw conversations. It's almost like you have to watch what you say all the time. That what it's probably doing psychologically to people is holding so much in.
Yeah.
That they want to say and talk through, but they can't.
Yeah.
And so, because that looked like an explosion of other things.
Yeah.
So that culture is producing not just weak people, but people that can lash out at any moment because they're not given outlets anymore. Like, what if I am wrestling with a family member who's a homosexual? Who do I talk to? Who can I talk to? It's not like you can, ask the question on Facebook because, it's just the culture doesn't let you do those things, right? Or if you're angry with someone, there's a phobia out there of being, it's almost like people are generally afraid to say things that you would have been able to say and talk through, but now it's like you're almost afraid to talk to people about certain things. Anyway, I was just thinking about that. Like, I don't know if that can connect to what you're saying, but I think generally people just aren't given the freedoms to actually talk through things.
Yeah.
And maybe that's spilling over into that whole thing.
Dating.
Yeah.
Maybe. I consent culture changes a lot too. So consent culture is constantly looking for consent to do anything, really. I forget what we were watching just recently, but me, my wife, and my kids, we all started laughing because we realized what was happening. In the middle of this romantic scene, there was consent being asked. And it was just like, that was weird. The person looked at the other person and was like, "Can I kiss you?" And the other person was like, "Do it." But it was a clear virtual signaling within the show where it was like, make sure you're asking consent. Not that anything's wrong with that. I'm just saying everything in dating, like, did you have to do that when you were dating? No. Like, imagine,
it would be awkward.
Yeah, imagine dating and you're always having to make sure that you're covering everything that you're doing. Is this the right way to do this? Is this the right way to do that? There's no natural response. There's no natural you anymore. This is your best version of you that you're always putting out there. Just a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Even when you're taking someone out somewhere on a, like, out to dinner nowadays, there's like, you know that this might get put on social media. So make sure that you do it big just in case this is broadcasted. There's that too. Imagine dating, or imagine you try to flirt with somebody in the inbox and you're scared that they're going to screenshot it and put it on.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That's way different than
Yeah.
before, when you would feel a little bit brave and you'd be like, hey, let me go ask them. Not worrying about, is this going to get screenshot? At the most, people will talk behind the scenes. But it's a difference between girls talking among themselves and then girls talking on social media.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And putting it out.
It's more difficult to take risks.
Way more difficult. You got to be calculated with everything.
Yeah. So I could see why it's more difficult. You know.
There's also a rise in, like, guys that I know that are looking to look for a woman, like they're out here searching. They're constantly complaining that these girls have like 30 dudes in their inbox. That's a lot of attention that they're getting from others. So when you give them attention, you're just in line, like, take a number. It's way more than back in the day when girls, the only way that they would know that they're getting hit on is if they're out in public and somebody says something to them. Look at the difference there. Like, even if a girl was super attractive, the most that she could get hit on back in the day was when she was out in public. Who's going to be bold enough to come up to somebody? You know, how many times is that going to happen in a day? Right. Compared to now, there's all types of inboxes being, blown up.
Right.
So
no, that's a good point.
There's a lot to this conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Cool.
Anything else?
So there is an article, again on the Christian Post. It talks about a serious drop in Bible reading. What's really going on? They're pointing that out, that people nowadays, I wonder if they're considering audio Bibles. Maybe people are going towards more audio Bible than reading.
Yeah, I don't know the exact stats on that.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting. Maybe that's what do you think about that?
Do you think there's been more of the extra biblical canon going on? I think there's been both of that, like on both sides. Like on the conservative side of things, there's conservative Christians that, or even conservative people in general, that may not read the Bible, but they read content about the Bible or something that's Bible based. I think they're reading that now a lot more than before. And even on the liberal side of things too.
Oh yeah.
Remember how for a little bit there was a woke canon?
Mm-hmm.
There's also an anti-woke canon now. So in order to survive in culture today, you got to read the Bible and these books on both sides. Yeah. I think there's been a lot of more of that going on. Reading documentaries is another way of people educating themselves. It's not just the Bible. So the Bible, again, it's similar to the whole, like, that chick, where I said there's 30 inbox messages getting sent to the girl, and it's like, take a number. You get in line with everybody else. That's how it is today with a lot of the research, the documentaries, just all of these different outlets on feeding your brain. It's not just the Bible anymore. Yeah. There's other things that are just as good as the Bible. Yeah. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely are being pulled in different directions that try to replace the scriptures for sure.
Garrett said the concept of independence in this culture has been blown way out of proportion. People don't date anymore, understanding that it's not all about their personal happiness. Take porn for an example. Its rise once the internet came around made sex a personal pursuit. Yes. Amen to that. We got to have Garrett on here one day so we can talk about like dating and like we haven't had. First of all, Garrett, you haven't been here for a minute. I think episode whatever that was, 35.
Dang. All right, bro. We're gonna have you on next week.
Yeah, Jesus in Therapy was the last time he was here.
Right.
Or
we're on for Wednesday next week, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Garrett, let us know.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
Garrett always got some good input.
Yeah.
So yeah. There's that too, like independence. Why be in an exclusive relationship with somebody when you don't need them?
All right.
There's also polyamorous relationships that is on the rise.
Yeah.
Did you see? This isn't part of tonight's episode, but there was a couple that opened up the door to being polyamorous with a sex robot. So it was him and her and it.
It's crazy.
They had opened up the relationship to a sex robot.
It's wild.
The guy said, I love my wife's mind, but I love, and pointed at the doll and said, I love her body.
It's crazy.
His wife was, never mind.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. He didn't like his wife physically. So
sad.
That I'm not laughing because it's a laughing matter. I'm laughing because it's insanity.
Yeah.
It's insanity.
Unashamed too. They put it on blast, right?
He said the first time that they both realized that their relationship was going to be great with being polyamorous was whenever they invited the doll into the shower with them. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah. Something's wrong,
man.
One topic: Massachusetts city bans pro-life crisis pregnancy centers.
Sorry. I'm not laughing at that. But before we get serious, Francis Banks, don't let your husband hold you back from finding the love of your life. Jada. Yo, that's so true.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's her. That's definitely her.
Yeah, she needs help.
Jada Pinkett Smith.
She needs help.
Never could I put up with that. But I heard he's afraid to divorce her because she might air out his secrets. And you know her. She's going to put it in a podcast, a book, on TV, everything.
That's terrible.
And I'm sure Will Smith got some secrets, boy. That pursuit of happiness don't come without a cost.
Part of me feels bad for him, man, actually. You know, you make it to the Oscars, your day's there, you finally get the award, and it's a big mess.
I'll never forget just the look on Denzel Washington's face. Did you see his face?
Yeah.
He was just disgusted, and he was just looking like, I know I did not go through what I went through in my generation for him to mess this up.
Yeah,
that's what it looked like.
It's embarrassing. Sad.
He looked at Will Smith the same way that Malcolm X and Martin Luther would look at a lot of these black folk today. But that's another conversation. I'm messing. That's a whole nother conversation. I heard somebody say that before, but that actually is a whole nother conversation. How would the civil rights leaders feel about the climate or the culture amongst black people today? Because they had a lot to say about the black culture in their day. Imagine what they would say about it today. Anyway,
good point.
You were saying something about abortion.
No, so yeah, Massachusetts city bans pro-life crisis pregnancy centers. We have a pregnancy center in York, and it's right around the corner from
the Satanic Club.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
So, but this is interesting because how do you ban an organization, right? Like,
so wait, who did they ban?
Massachusetts City passed an ordinance banning pro-life pregnancy centers because they allegedly deceive clients about abortion.
Whoa! I thought it was the other way around. I thought they were banning Planned Parenthood.
No, they're banning pro-life pregnancy centers.
Wow,
that's real and that's scary.
Massachusetts.
Yeah. That one got me. I'm just like, how do you ban an organization that saves lives? Like, it's wild, man. It's crazy.
Well, I always say, man, people are speaking from their seat of privilege.
It's crazy.
Like, the only way that they can push for abortion is based off of the fact that their mom did not abort them. Imagine that.
That's wild. Street preacher cleared of hate speech charges for preaching from the Bible. A court in the UK has cleared a 72-year-old Christian street pastor of all charges a year after his arrest for purportedly causing, quote, alarm and distress, unquote, in London by preaching about the biblical definition of marriage, which police said was, quote, hate speech.
This is in London?
The UK.
Yeah. So I heard, J.I. Packer and a few of those Anglican guys over the years talking about just the transformation that's gone on in England when it comes to the spiritual aspect of things and how it's become spiritually dead in a lot of those areas that where it once thrived, a lot of Reformed teachings and churches, and it's dead, a lot of those areas. And
some of the churches actually turned into skate parks.
Yeah.
That's wild to me.
I'm not surprised to hear this report right here of a guy that got arrested for preaching the truth.
72-year-old.
But they did clear him of the charges. Was he in jail that whole time, or just cleared of the charges?
It doesn't say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's wild.
Wow.
Interesting. Very interesting to hear. Yeah, that's pretty much all I had for tonight. Nobody got questions.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Forrest Gump. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I mean, there's more things right here. Now, here's some Ligonier stats on evangelicals in the U.S. These are some stats right here. 31% say science disproves the Bible. How you feel about that?
31%?
31% of evangelicals in the U.S. say that science disproves the Bible. I really want to know how loose they're throwing around that evangelical term.
Very loose, yeah. Evangelicals, that's just another way of saying religious or nominal Christians.
Well, by definition, it's a person who holds to the preaching of the good news. So it's like,
right.
How?
An unbeliever can do that.
Well, I'm saying, how could you call yourself an evangelical if you don't believe the good, if you don't believe the evangel?
Right.
Let's see. 33% say, well, let me ask you this. When it comes to science disproving the Bible, what is your thoughts on theistic evolution? Because that's kind of a mix,
right,
of science and Bible, they say.
Yeah, I think Alistair McGrath is a theistic evolutionist. Correct me if I'm wrong out there, but I think he is. We used one of his books at seminary on Christian history. Good book, but bothersome because it was always in the back of my mind. This dude believes in theistic evolution.
Who is that? Alistair Begg?
No. Alistair McGrath.
Alistair McGrath.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. Alistair Begg.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, I'm not a big fan of that. I think that's a compromise. I think that's a way of being a man pleaser. Garrett says, what's y'all's opinion on MAID, aka medical aid in dying? Oh man.
11 states in the USA allow for individuals to self-administer lethal medications at the end of life. All 49 states allow for VS, aka voluntary stop eating and drinking. Yeah, so good question. See, the thing is, like, if there's a lot of moral nuances there. So, like, what if you know you can take a medication, you don't take it, and you'll die? Not taking it, is that a sin? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it kind of falls aligned with that. Like, if you don't want aid and you just want to die naturally, then yeah, a refusal to take things that can save your life. I don't think that's a sin, but aiding your death, I think that's where it becomes a problem. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but there's also the question of aiding someone else's death.
Right.
That's what this is dealing with.
Right.
Here.
I'm just saying that left to the person, if the person refuses aid and just wants to die naturally, that's not really a problem for me. The problem is aiding someone's death.
Yeah.
You know, or even someone saying, "Hey, I want to take this so I can die."
Yeah.
That could be a problem.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
I think even the way it allow for individuals to self-administer, I think that's aiding as well. Yeah. When you're allowing it to happen for someone else to do it, it's yeah. I think it's compliance. I would personally have an issue with that. I mean, I've been a caregiver since 2010. I got certified. I'm still certified to today, even though I'm a chaplain. But like, even when I've always felt a certain way whenever my residents would say, "I just want to die, let me die," and I would let them know, like, "Hey, no, God has you here for a reason." But yeah, I think that's a bigger conversation, and I'm okay with saying I'm open to having a bigger conversation.
Yeah,
like, I'm definitely okay.
Yeah.
I have a question. Is there a difference between passionate speaking and clamoring? I notice a lot of sisters get upset because we're being tone police, but is there a place for recognizing sin in the tone of voice? I think she meant to say. So is it, I think she's asking, can it be sinful if you have the wrong tone when you're speaking?
Example, like what?
She didn't give an example, but she's saying, because some people would say, "Yo, why you speaking to me like that?" Right? You're speaking like, don't talk to me like that.
Yeah, you're talking.
And a person would be like, "Nah, like, I'm just passionate when I speak." That's what their excuse would be, but the person would say, "No, that falls under falls under the sin of clamoring."
I see.
That falls under the sin of you being out of pocket.
Yeah.
I would say this when it comes to that, like, be respectful and make sure that whatever you're saying and doing is out of love.
Yeah. If
a person in their heart of hearts is not trying to be a certain way, they can, I think there's also a way to inadvertently make someone feel a certain way from the way that you're speaking to them. Maybe you didn't mean to make them feel. That happens to me all the time. Yeah. Especially with my wife. Like, I'll be saying something to my wife, and then it's just totally on her end of things. She received it way different than the way that I was trying to give it.
Right.
I wasn't. You know what I mean? So I think it always comes back to intent.
Because when you're talking about clamoring, I think it's it's like a noise that's confusing and annoying. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would say that's sinful if you're doing that at somebody. You know. Yeah.
Here she goes. She says African American women get accused of being an angry black woman, and the response is stop tone policing.
Yeah, I could see, because Hispanics naturally are loud, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of like, not all Hispanics are like that, but my family were loud. And when we went into restaurants, and even my friends and all that, like, we go in and we're just loud, you know, and other people of other cultures will look at us a certain way, you know. So we weren't trying to be annoying or abrupt. We were just being ourselves. Yeah. Because the culture, that's just how it was. So
I know that people are all across the board with this one, but if I'm speaking from my own standpoint, I understand that a lot of times you got to read the room. So when you're in a situation, you have to try to be aware how you'll be received when you say it.
That's tough, because if I'm going to a restaurant,
I know, that's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
That's why it's like, I'm not saying
that's a tough one.
We're not responsible for the way that a person receives us. That's on them. But there is a way that you can hold yourself responsible for the way that you're speaking.
Sure. I think if you're talking to someone, you should consider that. Or even if you're going to like a very personal type of environment, like a church or someone's house, definitely. Yeah.
And people can presuppose, and people can look at you a certain way and automatically think this person is going to speak to me like you said that you've gone in spaces where people, they write you off automatically as a violent and aggressive. So if you say something that's even remotely close to what they thought you would say and how you would say it, then you're just feeding right into. And I wouldn't blame that on you, because they already had that presupposition in their mind of you. But I think everyone judges, by the way.
Yeah, we all do.
We all judge.
Are we judging righteously?
Ooh.
Carefully.
Or are we judging self-righteously? Well,
we're good at that.
This is good.
You mentioned your wife took
a thing you said out of context.
Context.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. Yep. So there's definitely times, and even before I get into a conversation with my wife, sometimes I presuppose how she's gonna respond. You ever do that?
Yeah.
Like you almost don't even want to deal with a certain topic because you already have in your head how your wife is going to respond to it.
It's funny. I was just doing a premarital counseling today, and I was helping a couple do that because the husband is very opinionated, right? And he forms an opinion conclusion right away. And one of the things we kind of unpacked was his future wife needs to process and work through it to get to the point where he's at, if that's correct. So I encourage them to walk with her. Even though in your mind you made up your mind on what's happening, she needs to process. She needs to work through it, work that with her, even though it could be like, I knew that like 20 minutes ago, but she needs that time to process, So strong opinionated people make conclusions too quick sometimes. So it's good to step back a little bit, listen, observe, and then conclude, But we're very quick to form an opinion, and we might be right, but for other people's sake, it'd be good to walk with them, listen to them, and maybe even be open to being corrected.
The joke to that would be not might, but we are right. Right. So they need to get in line.
You tell so when you tell your wife, I knew that already, I knew that days ago, it's like, that might be the case, but and even vice versa, a wife could say that to her husband. The point is, sometimes you got to let people work through it and be helpful instead of just concluding and kind of like waiting for them to get to where you're at.
There's also the another thing, another layer to add on to that is, and I've learned this personally, even whenever they do get to that point, What you don't want to do is look at him with that "I told you so."
Right.
Because now you're just being smug. You're just being a jerk.
Right.
You're not. You really only cared about being right rather than them getting it correctly. You know?
Right. You
cared more about being right than them being right, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Anything else you got?
No, man, I'm good.
All right, why don't we end with talking about our last 7 word service?
Yeah, that joint was dope.
Our last 7 word service. Colostomy. I'll let him explain that a little bit more. You got to let us know what you mean by that, bro. So our last 7 word service where we found 7 young guys or 7 guys in our church that are not usually preachers. And they each give a 7 to 10 minute sermonette on the last 7 statements that Jesus made before he died on the cross.
Mm-hmm.
And there were people that came to the service that said that they were encouraged. How'd you feel about the service? Because those guys, me and you took a night off from preaching. We didn't have to preach that night, which was great.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about that?
I was surprised, encouraged that we had 7 men that could share faithfully. A couple surprises. I was proud. Surprises in that there were some men that I didn't know how. Some of them I never heard speak before, right?
Right.
We've conversated with them, and doctrinally they're safe men. They're biblical. But to hear them share, I was just like, okay, that was impressive. That was good. And then you had a variety of styles. You know what I mean?
Very different styles.
Right. But I don't know, man. That's a compliment to our church, man, that these men are attending our church. They love the church, and they're solid.
Yeah.
Man. So I was proud and surprised and encouraged.
Yeah.
For sure, man. It was. And then emotional afterwards. Like Dave Gunjum said, him and his wife were teary-eyed, ministered to. They left really ministered and filled. So that really warmed my heart, man, that people just sat there just taking everything in and just encouraged. So it was just a just very, I just felt full. I felt full. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was dope to look back and, I mean, if I wasn't timing them, because I had to time them and stuff like that, so it was like I was doing the camera and I was timing them, but the more and more I sat back and thought about it afterwards, I was like, oh, wow, that's nice to see maybe 1 or 2 of those into the next generation of preachers coming up, too. Yeah. For the most part, they were all in their 20s. I think there was one. Yeah, there was one. He was about 60.
Stace is
close to 50. I mean, he's 58. So, yeah. Grace and peace, James Big.
Yeah, bro. Thanks for sharing.
God bless, bro. It was encouraging. We shall see how that looks in the future. I guess the question is this: how do you build up these young preachers? How do you build them up? Do you how did you get built up? Did people pour into you?
No.
and me neither. I can't. Okay, let me say it like this. I've had people around me, but what I'm saying is nobody walked me step by step through it.
No, that didn't happen with me. My job was learn as you go.
Right. I
was just a culture, man. So I don't think I made heretical mistakes, but I definitely made some homiletical mistakes and expositional mistakes.
Okay.
Right. So method of preaching definitely was a challenge. I didn't know, about, outlines and, points to a sermon, sub-points, analytical questions, proving, contrasting, all that. Kind of just learned through it. Yeah,
I was never really taught a systematic way of doing it. the way I knew it was the way that I did it. Like, open up a Bible, look at the text, and just start preaching.
Yeah.
And I can still do that to this day. I can just open up a Bible, find a little text, and start preaching from that text. I knew nothing about first, second, third point,
Right.
intro, conclusion. What's the FCF? Like, I knew nothing about that. Like, FCF, like finding the fallen condition focus. Like, nah, like this is this is where we are, and this is where God is going to take us. Like, we're broken people, we're hurting people, and we're sinful people, and this is the reason why God has to change us. You know what I mean? Like, I was just automatically, that's the gospel. That's another thing I had to learn growing, like, to do differently from the way I grew up. Like, I didn't know that the gospel had to be in every sermon. Like, that's just something that you get taught in school. Yeah. That I never knew before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I learned that, right? So you can thread the main point throughout the text, throughout your sermon too. It doesn't have to be the concluding thought. It could be clearly stated in the beginning, threaded through your sermon, and then also re-emphasized at the end. I mean, you know, because I lived in shock and awe type of culture in the church. So, you know, not that they thought that deeply about sermons, but they always sought to shock people, to really bring in something deep, you know. And faithful preaching is simple preaching.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it is.
It's a lot of pressure. So every week you got to come up with something that's going to make people go, wow. Yeah. Now you're focused on self now. And
you're competing with the world at that point. And you know what? People are going to leave the church because there's a lot more shock and awe in the world. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, but faithful preaching is simple preaching. Yeah. You know, not that it's simple, but my point is, it might not be the oohs and ahs to the flesh. It's not. And my heart leaps when I hear faithful preaching.
That's one thing that I could say that was great about that night was there wasn't anybody going to make any shocking statements that night.
Right.
They were. It seemed like they were just trying to be faithful.
Yes.
Nobody went OD with it.
Right.
Sometimes you get guys that usually don't have a platform. They're gonna get up there and act a fool.
Yeah. Right.
None of them did that.
No, it was a really good service. I was encouraged and proud.
Yeah, that was dope.
Definitely proud.
That was dope. Yeah. Ben Dixon says that sounds like an awesome service. It's encouraging hearing fellow brothers get it and explain theology well.
Yeah, I encourage you, man. Tell your churches to do it. The last 7 words of Christ for a Good Friday service. Pick 7 men. You know, I would encourage it. Definitely.
And pick 7 men that have different personalities too. Yeah. Like not all the same type of person.
Yeah.
That was dope about this is the diversity. Every year we try to look for who can be faithful to the text and also add another element to this. Yeah. So that they don't start thinking it's only one type of preacher that's allowed in this church.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, nah.
There was a variety for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So
no
anyway,
doubt.
We're going to get out of here, y'all.
All right.
God bless y'all. This was episode 116, Thinking Out Loud.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Make sure you share and like the video. Facebook.com/Wrath and Grace. We do have a Facebook group page. Facebook.com/group/The Basement. Make sure you get on the group page. Let people know what's going on there. WrathAndGrace.com is the website. Let people know. For those of y'all, even for those of y'all in the MetaVerse, WrathAndGrace.com, for watching us on there. I thought about doing an episode in there. That'd be pretty dope. I'm working on it. I want to be one of the first to do it. But anyway, it was good to be with y'all. Grace and peace. Love y'all. Thank you so much for your prayers and support. We're done.
God bless.
All right.